It is indeed a pleasure to have this privilege to play here for you. We intend to give you a very fine program, so just settle back, relax, and enjoy the moment.
Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Kind of started off teasing out this morning's Twitch stream, a little spiciness, as I'm wont to do. All right, how y'all doing? Shout out to I didn't mean to abruptly end my music like that. Shout out to everybody who joined me yesterday. Shout out to folks behind the scenes, who gave me some feedback. Yesterday was like getting back on the horse, so to speak, or whatever, on the bike. It's like riding a bike. Getting back to Twitch and diving into the news. There was so much news that I watched or read, during my break, during my hiatus, my break from Twitch, not my break, my hiatus from Twitch last week. Good morning, Meg. Good morning, Jessica. Your cute family. I'll be stalking and lurking, Jessica. Good morning, Nicole. Good morning, Facebook peoples, if you're watching on Facebook as well. But yeah, like yesterday, just so much news. I realized I consumed more news than I thought. Good morning, Whiskey Neat. Guess who didn't get any sleep last night, Whiskey Neat? This girl right here. Cause why? Alcohol doesn't agree with me. I'll learn one day. Maybe when I grow up. But yeah, I consumed so much news, and so some of the news that I consumed but couldn't talk to you about last week, I'm gonna bring up one story in particular, and that was when I saw, and y'all, I got there's a lawnmower outside my window, so hopefully you can hear me louder than the lawnmower. It is what it is. But but over my hiatus from Twitch last week, I saw the story from the ACLU South Carolina regarding that redacted video. Remember a Saturday I got on Twitch on a Saturday, and I talked about the redacted Jason Cooper video and how disturbing it was. I might even do some Twitch inception and maybe try to find that video. I'll probably find it on YouTube. And trigger warning, I want to say this at the onset of today's Twitch stream. Trigger warning, content warning. I will be talking about extrajudicial police murder. I will be talking about police brutality, among other things. Also, trigger warning, I will be talking about Nancy Mace, so that might even be more depending on how she make you feel. That might make you even more of a squeamish. All right, so let me see where we want to start off with. I think we want to start off with, let's take a look at the Post and Courier. Y'all see me craning my neck? It's just a hot mess right now. You don't even want to know how I'm living. Puke emoji for sure, Nicole. For sure, when Nancy Mace, the real trigger warning, the original trigger warning. So I think I'm going to hop into... Let's hop into the Post and Courier. So this is the front page of today's Post and Courier. And I want to underscore something I said yesterday. I don't know why, but I felt emboldened, or I feel like I need to just underscore this. CVB, y'all can do way more than a 13-person internship for Black students. I just want to say that again. Like, it was something that woke me out of my, aside from drinking too much Merlot before bedtime, it was something that kind of woke me out of my sleep last night. Was, I started the conversation, and I'm going to continue to have this conversation about like these small symbolic gestures that folks typically pass off as justice or as recompense or reparations, right? And I really want to start parsing through that. Another case in point, what's his name? The Anson Mills guy with the rice. Y'all might have seen him on High on the Hog. I'm not gonna play High on the Hog because I'll get a copyright ding on YouTube. But like, I think everyone, from judging from my tweets about rice and rice being so profoundly political, especially here in the South, judging from the tweets that I had about rice and people's reaction, they responded in turn with the Anson Mills dude about the rice, how he says he gives rice seed as reparations because he knows how political Carolina Gold the rice is. Like, to me, it's tantamount to a blood diamond. Good morning, D. Good morning on Twitch. And I know that might sound hyperbolic to people, but when you think about the cost of human life that it took to actually cultivate that rice and to have that rice make the millions and millions of dollars and generational wealth that's still being enjoyed and passed down by white folks, by the white ruling class, the descendants of the white planter class, this rice is very political, and to me, it's so much blood on that rice. And so to have a white man, to center a white man around the discussion of rice and then have him thrown in, yeah, we give away the rice as reparations. That's not reparative justice. That's not giving black folks their land back. That's not giving black folks that wealth they could have earned. This came out of the conversation about Tulsa, about how like those in power there, white lawmakers are extraordinarily. Let me flip back because I'm not even talking about what's on the screen. Let me flip back to my camera, because I want to kind of flesh out these thoughts about the CVB and the and what they could be doing more, what they could be doing to really invest in black lives and in the future of black folk. But yeah, I think when you have folks telling you what reparations is and it doesn't address any of this it doesn't have an impact that can be felt throughout many generations, when it doesn't undo or rather it doesn't heal or try to address the harm that was caused by hundreds and hundreds of years of disenfranchisement, to me, it just falls flat. And I think that what we're seeing a lot from Anson, is it Anson Mills, y'all? Correct me if I'm wrong. Hey, Justin, good morning. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's Anson Mills, right? Let me look it up. Y'all know me and names. Y'all know it's like shit don't stick. But like, that to have him say that giving away the rights to anyone who asks for it and saying that that's reparations doesn't do anything for those, especially when we have families. We still have individuals and families and organizations and foundations created to hoard wealth, and part of that, and I talked about this with the preservation regime, right? The fact that you can preserve a plantation, a labor camp, right? The fact that you can make it either a nature preserve or some sort of conservatory, whatever, or conservation, whatever, not pay taxes on that land, and do all these different things to help you hide and avoid paying taxes, hide wealth and avoid paying taxes. The fact that these rice plantations are now in the hands of even more wealthier white folk, right? So black folks didn't even we don't own land, we don't own the crops, we don't benefit from the crops. Our Democratic Party didn't even put anybody up to run for agricultural commissioner. We just don't have folks in this state. We have a couple of organizations and organizations from a neighboring state or two talking about land justice and talking about reparative justice and restoring folks, trying to restore folks, restore land, teach people about land ownership. But anyway, that is just a larger conversation. So when you see these organizations talk about, I know that was a real windy little kind of rabbit hole type deal, but when you see organizations and individuals talk about reparations, let's just take a closer look. And the CBB did not mention reparation. It is Anson Mills. Thank you, Justin. And the CVB did not mention reparations, but they are trying to score points by having a story. What was it, in the Sunday paper that says, hey, or was it Sunday? Was it yesterday? That says, hey, we're doing something to address our issues. Yeah, we still market plantations. Yeah, we still market plantations. But I'm pulling up no, it was yesterday's paper. It wasn't Sunday's. I'll put it up since I'm talking about it. But we got to be more discerning, and we've got to really, really, really be careful with giving folks credit. And a lot of people out there, I know people who get weary with me might say, well, Tamika, it's a start. It's not a start. If you know, I'm tired of being told that I'm tired of being told that the most mildest effort is enough. I'm tired of being told what I should be happy and content with when I know it's a feeble attempt to just look less racist. And so I just wanted to reiterate that. I kind of wanted to go on and just say that no, giving away rice seed is not reparations. No, a 13-member internship for Black HBCUs school, HBCU students. No, while that's a great opportunity for them, and I don't want to diminish them and their aspirations or any of the people tapped to participate to lead the program. I'm not trying to impugn anyone's integrity or nothing like that. But what I am trying to say is that CVB can do way more. If y'all knew how much shit they got, 20 million alone in COVID relief money. In one instance, I believe they got more than that, but in one reported instance from the Post and Courier. So again, what the CVB should be doing, they should be throwing around their political weight to make sure that a Marriott, to make sure that a Hilton, and to make sure that Inter Hotel Chain X, the ones that are building up and exacerbating the issues here in Charleston economically and environmentally, like, they should be throwing around their weight to make sure that those chains and these developers actually invest in the schools here. And that's the one thing that had me scratching my head, is how vigorously Nikki Haley, McMaster, the CV, any tourism body, how they woo folks so vigorously but never think about the infrastructure it takes to maintain the things that they're wooing people here for. Like, if a Boeing comes here, wouldn't you want the pipeline to be a smarter, more better trained, well educated pipeline? No, you came to a state that had some of the worst education standards, worst education metrics in the country, and you came here because you knew you could exploit the workforce. But it would be great if our governing bodies actually acted in the best interest of all people, but especially the ones that have been denied access. And so when you see the CVB do this, don't get impressed and don't say, well, Mika, it's a start. I know there's a whole bunch of Mika, it's a start people. Like, how you doing, people? It's a start, people. I'm 40 years old. I'm 40 years old, right? My mama and my daddy were born into Jim Crow, okay? In 1939 and 1949, okay? This ain't shit. It's not a start. It's not even a false start. It's not even, this is something that if I worked at a company, I would have suggested this program, and I could have wrangled up 13 students to benefit from this. Like, I've run larger programs just working for a nonprofit with more student involvement and arguably probably better opportunities. I'm just saying. It's not a start. So all that, it's a start. People go have several seats, because I get that a lot, y'all. That's why I'm saying it. I get that a lot. Have several seats. Yeah, over there. Go over there. Good morning, Anna Marks on Facebook. Anyway, let me look at the chat on Twitch real quick, because I know I just bloviated for like 10 minutes. Jessica, you says crumbs from the table aren't the same as a seat at the table. If you're gonna do it, make it real. Absolutely. I got you. And D, you said white people in the org saying what reparations are is the same as us saying what racism is. Absolutely. I always give people white splaining progress to me too. Like, especially in Charleston, again, it's that tendency to be paternalistic. Like, how could I know what racism is? How can I adequately define, oppression? I don't know, because I live in this body. But a lot of people will, hey, B-man. A lot of people will white explain a lot of these things to me, and I'm trying to let y'all know that no, because and like, it's not even hard. You don't even have to sleuth hard to see other cities do this and do this way better, right? Other cities address the ills of what's happened in the past and do it with way more heart and way more intention. Nicole, it says, it's like, what's the least we can do and still get credit? Absolutely. And then work your friends at the Post and Courier and put this on the front page like you're doing something. This could have been below the fold. This could have been right here right here in this section right here. This story right here, 13 people. I thought they was going to say they opening up hospitality programs in HBCUs. I thought they said that they negotiated a deal with Marriott or whomever to have, you know, these bona fide these programs, these hospitality programs in these HBCUs, which would require millions and millions of dollars of investment, which they could, which the city could, which the CVB could definitely make a play and argue and negotiate that there be more investment in local communities from these industries that you're wooing here in, you know, that are arriving here in hordes, right? It's a start, people. I'm telling you, I get it's a start, people, all the time. I'm 40 years old, y'all. And when I graduated high school, St. Andrews, let me tell you something. It might as well have been 1950. So it's a start. No, it's not. Stop telling us to be happy with crumbs. All right. So the front page of today's paper, Oh, this was a big ruling. I'm not going to get into it because y'all know I love sports, but I'm going to leave sports alone. But I was super happy to see Supreme Court rules against the NCAA. So basically, yeah, I hope this means players start getting compensated because they're not amateur athletes. They're not. And they're raking in literal billions. And I don't want to hear any argument about, well, what do you give the girls versus men? You give them all a check. Here we go with the capitalism. All right, so this is the front page of Water Tower News. This is what we're going to get into right here. Redacted reports and slangs released. We're going to get into this right here. Redacted. Okay, remember I talked about this previous Twitch on a Saturday. Talked about it. Hey, Mev on Facebook. Talked about how this is a trend. We saw this also with Elizabeth City, North Carolina, with the police officers there who involved in the Andrew Brown murder. We saw how they would not give the family but bits and pieces of police body cam and dash cam footage, right? We saw how they dragged their feet and said all these things like, oh, we can't release this because it'll interfere with the investigation. All the stuff we've heard with the Jamal Sutherland case, with the Jason Cooper case, it's the same. So there's a new trend. To me, it's not a new trend, but it's more visible now because a lot of folks have been really pushing for more transparency, which is Chief Luther Reynolds' favorite word, transparency. It's like he says it and then we're supposed to believe it's coming, and then they release redacted, edited, narrated information, which is bonkers, right? Also, this news right here, bill targets city ban on conversion therapy. So I saw that Keto Beer Ken came out and was adamantly opposed to that. This dude will take an easy stance like no other. Justin, you know what I'm talking about, Levitar show, easy stance, like Stu Gotts, like hands on hips. Like this dude will take an easy stance. Okay, yeah, conversion therapy is a layup. So I ain't mad at him, but say something bold, Joe. Hunley reopens, don't care about that. All right, so I'm gonna click out of here. And let's get to some videos so you can hear another voice other than mine. But I wanted to just put y'all up on so yeah, we're going to talk about redacted video. We're going to talk about SLED and other local law enforcement agencies really just saying, forget your laws, forget your rights. We're not giving you any information that's not carefully edited and manipulated and all that other stuff, right? So of course there's still the Murdaugh, and I know I'm probably saying the last name wrong, but I don't really care. The Murdaugh family, that case is still shrouded in a lot of mystery, and they just released redacted information. All right, so let's get to it. I titled this Twitch this morning, Why We Can't Trust the Police, because police is always covering up stuff. Also, you see here, we're going to get into Nancy Mace and her most recent stab at trying to attack the Biden administration. She didn't do too well. She pulled on the glasses yesterday. She put the glasses on the other day. She put the glasses on, but she didn't have no stats at the ready. She didn't have strong talking points. She just opposed it because she wanted to oppose it. Oppose the infrastructure bill and oppose any type of relief that Biden has put forth. So we're going to get into that in a second too. But let me see. Let's see. Oh, I gotta look at that. Where is it? Let's see. No, I think it's up here. Yeah, here we go. So I saw this while I was on a little break. Hold on one second. Let's make sure the video is coming up.
It's no secret that we're living.
Gonna mute that real quick. Marvin's gonna do his thing. So yeah, South Carolina Reform Group raises questions about Charleston police video project. I love how it's framed as a project because y'all, that's what it is. This is something really weird.
The American Civil Liberties Union of South Carolina is questioning the intention of the Charleston Police Department's new Critical Incident Briefing Project. That project produces narrated videos of incidents involving use of force.
It's so inappropriate, and I want folks to understand how so profoundly inappropriate is it for you to release narrated, edited, redacted video of a police killing. The context is whatever the fuck I pick up with my own eyes. That's all the context I need, is what I see with my eyes, because we learned this from so many cases from before I was born to very recently. But let's take the Walter Scott case. Let's just take the Walter Scott case, for example. Slager lied in his initial reporting on how Walter Scott came to be shot, right? He lied. Not only did Slager lie, we saw, thank God for Faden Santana, we saw Slager place evidence near Walter Scott's body as he was dying from a gunshot wound to the back, right? So we saw Slager not only not administer aid, plant evidence, and then write a report, because he did not know that he was being filmed the entire time. The altercation was being filmed by Faden Santana. And so we know police have a tendency to cover up. It's almost like their first instinct. We've seen it with SLED. We've seen it with local law enforcement, North Charleston PD, CPD. And so when we ask for video, we just need to see the raw footage, dog. You don't have to throw no hot sauce on it. You ain't got to edit. You ain't got to do nothing. You got to put no filter on it. You ain't got to do none of that. We just need to see the raw footage, dog. And we're going to use the context that God gave us, which is common sense in our eyes, right? That's what we're going to trust me to know what the hell it is that I'm looking at. Just like when we saw Walter Scott shot in the back, we knew what it was. An unarmed man fleeing from a cop because he didn't want to get arrested. He got warrants. Spoiler alert for those who don't know, like, not even spoiler, but just here's a little inside tip. No one wants to be arrested. No one. Your favorite police reality show, Cops, was all about people resisting arrest. That's what the show Cops was. People resisting arrest, white and black and whomever, male, female. No one wants to be arrested. Running from the police should not result in a death penalty. And I'm not being funny, but like, we act like people running from the police is like weird. No one wants to be arrested. Shit, I might run from the fucking police. I ain't got no warrants or nothing, but I know I'm not running to the police. Like, I might run from the police. I don't want to get arrested. I don't want to make contact with law enforcement. You know, doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean you should lose your life over it. Anyway, here I go. Let me just let it rock.
Caitlin Stansel talked with the reform
Sorry
group
for talking
about
so much.
its concerns.
You know why
This
I'm
briefing has
talking
been
so
completed
much.
so that you may have a better understanding about the circumstances that led.
Charleston police have started a new initiative to release information and footage from some critical incidents involving their officers. The department says this new project is all about transparency. But the executive director of the South Carolina chapter of the American Civil Liberties Union questions the agency's motives.
Come through,
Footage
Frank.
should speak for itself, and
That's
so
right.
they should just release the footage and let the community look at it and decide for themselves what their own eyes see. And we shouldn't have to have law enforcement, editing and then narrating, what the law enforcement perspective should be on that issue. It should really be up to the public to decide.
The project's first release came out earlier this
So
month.
it's a larger project.
911, what is the address of the emergency?
So I didn't know it was part of a larger project. This is what I didn't see reported in the Post and Courier. I'll have to follow up with Steve and them and see what they uncovered. But this is a actual project. I hope people are calling Luther Reynolds, calling the police department, calling city council, just really making their voices heard regarding this issue. This is absurd. It's a whole program, but we need to put this program right back in the think tank. Who came up with this? Wendy Shriver? Let me not put that on her. Who came up with this, though? This is garbage.
And it includes 911 recordings, dispatch recordings, photos,
I
maps,
see you, Meek,
and even body
on Facebook. I'm reading
footage. But Nack says he's skeptical of the way these videos are presented.
absolutely.
The fact that they're even noting that they want to give context is the problem itself. You know, context is narrative.
Yeah.
They want to paint the picture that they want the public to see and not necessarily what the public sees when they watch the video. And so it's disappointing that CPD thinks that the public can't, look with their own eyes and decide whether something is just
that's
or
what they're
unjust,
afraid
and
of.
that they need to have quote unquote context from CPD before they can understand what happened.
The officer in the video says the body camera footage is raw and unedited, but it's not considered public record, so it's up to law enforcement agencies to release videos recorded through body cam.
And see, that's the exemption that's in the law that doesn't make body cam footage public record. Then take my public damn dollars off their chest then. If whatever they capture on video is not public record because of that bullshit exemptions and all those bullshit exemptions, give me back my taxpayer money. Give me back whatever went into funding these camera programs. If it's not public record, and you know what is public record, that dash cam footage. So why didn't you release that unredacted? Right? That's just weird how dash cam has to be released, but body cam not necessarily. But that's all right. We're gonna have cameras on y'all. I've never been a proponent of body cams. I've always been a proponent of more cameras on cops. We don't need them to have cameras on us. They already got cameras on us everywhere. Hello, Amazon. We need cameras on cops. And we need laws to protect people who film the police. Shout out to the young lady who won a Pulitzer for filming the tragic death of George Floyd. It's a really sad, it's like a bittersweet way to be recognized by such an institution, but it's so important that she received that distinction because of what she did. It legitimizes that type of, I would call it maybe citizen journalism, recording such heinous acts by the police, because now we know that these laws, like these body cam laws, especially in this state, are very hollow. Meek on Facebook, good morning, Meek McPherson. You said the project is about controlling the narrative and gaslighting people, plain and simple. Couldn't agree with you more. It will take lawsuits for them to stop. You're right. Meek McPherson, you also went on to say POC, people of color, will continue to be at fault, and those who deny systemic racism and policing remain comfortable in their willful ignorance. Could not have said it better. I need to stop talking and just read y'all's comments because you just knocked it out of the park, Meek. Thank you. Let me just let this finish.
Cameras.
There's been a number of documented instances in South Carolina since that body cam law went into effect, where police have not only failed to turn over the information, but they've also failed to turn on their body cameras, which are actually required to do under the law when they engage in police civilian encounters. Body cameras are not a solution to police violence. They're just an accountability tool as we build a society where we have a far reduced role for policing in our communities.
There you go.
I'm Caitlin Stansel, Live 5 News.
So I was happy to see that report while I was on a little break. Let me see.
A statement from the department said, quote, CPD will continue to provide our citizens with complete, accurate reports about critical incidents as they occur in our area.
Oh, they haven't done it yet, so that's interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, let's hop back over to YouTube. We're gonna hop into YouTube now, and we're gonna go over. Hey, Evelyn, good morning. That'll be a first, right? They never did it. Absolutely. And they love, I'm telling you, they love, it's like a toxic relationship with a bad ex-boy. Like, just think of your worst relationship with someone who was a liar, if you've ever unfortunately had that experience. It's like you just keep saying transparency. I'm gonna be faithful, baby. I'm gonna come home. We're gonna have dinners together. We're gonna start dating again. Like, they just say it to get through the moment and never ever follow through on any of the promises. And y'all deserve better. Y'all don't need to take that. Girl, leave him. Leave law enforcement right there, girl. So we want to get into some Lindsey Graham mess, but let's stay on the whole SLED redacted thing, the whole, and we're gonna get into the latest with the Jamal Sutherland case as well. There was some activist movement with the Jamal Sutherland case that included mother Amy Sutherland, the mother of Jamal Sutherland. Again, content warning, talking about police violence, talking about police murder, the extrajudicial killings of Black people, of people in general. But let's talk about this SLED thing, because it's connected. Even though the Murdaugh cases are murders and not murders from, at the hands of the police, we see how the police abuses their power, they abuse the law, and they deny access to vital information that the public has a right to know about.
Developing news, state law enforcement division agents have just released new documents regarding the high-profile homicides of two members of a prominent South Carolina family. They released several reports from the Carleton County Sheriff's Office in the deaths of both Paul and Margaret Murdaugh earlier this month. Much of the information has been redacted, but we have learned the shooting scene was expansive and at least one car was towed. SLED says they're committed to a thorough, fair, and impartial investigation. So far, there have been no arrests.
That is so peculiar. That's so peculiar. It's like they know who did it, and they're just it's a waiting out the clock game, right? It's a waiting out the clock game, and we saw this again. Unfortunately, I'm not saying this to be to bastardize an important case or to minimize an important case, but we saw this most recently with the Jamal Sutherland case, with all Scarlett Wilson, with the help of Mark Pepper, all they were doing, and Keith Summey and North Charleston PD and SLED, all they were doing was buying enough time or trying to get enough time to figure out politically how this was going to fall. And they were trying to also, I would argue they were waiting to see what the public outcry would be once Jamal's death was reported back in January. But because, we live in Charleston, and the same thing that I felt before last year's uprisings, right, is what I know to be true, is that what we saw last summer, that's not the real Charleston. That was a moment. The real Charleston is having two Black people die at the hands of police and no public outcry. And I would say that it was probably more important for folks to pour into the street for Jason Cooper, for demanding answers about Jason Cooper's killing and Jamal Sutherland's killing. I would argue, I'm not trying to measure or compare atrocities, but I would argue it would have been more important for folks, especially white folks and people of privilege. Hello business class out there, Black square business class. It would have been even more important for people to pour into the streets, city council members to really speak up about the killings that happened right here in our county. And we didn't see that, right? And that's the real Charleston. The real Charleston wasn't last year in the streets. That was a blip. That was an anomaly. And that's almost 100% of the reason why I didn't even think about taking to the streets that day. I was completely caught off guard by that response, and completely not caught off guard by the apathy that followed. Right? It's a waiting game. It's a waiting game, and if we don't react and respond vigorously, then folks are going to feel like they can keep jerking us around and delay justice for as long as it takes. And that's why we have an incompetent solicitor in Scarlett Wilson who's out here changing this man's death from, from shrug to oh yeah, it's actually homicide. But it's not that kind of homicide. It's diet homicide where nobody was at fault. Like, come on, girl, you incompetent. So So SLED also being part of this machine that hides and conceals information. It's very peculiar how we don't know more about this murder of this affluent family. All right, let's turn the car wheel a little bit. I think that's all I had to talk about. Oh no, we're gonna go to the Jamal Sutherland case, and then we're gonna go to politics. We're gonna go to Nancy Mace, go to Lindsey Graham, and some other local news. But let's go to the Jamal Sutherland case.
Activists in the local area are calling for more transparency in the death of a Charleston County inmate. Jamal Sutherland died in custody in January, and so far no charges have been filed in this case. News 2's Riley Benson joins us now live from downtown Charleston. And Riley, there are activists who are saying tonight that if transparency is not restored, Ninth Circuit Solicitor Scarlett Wilson and others should resign their positions.
Definitely should resign.
Yeah, Carolyn, activists say investigators lied to Jamal Sutherland on the night of his arrest, the morning he died, and to his family several times since his death at the Alcannon Detention Center. Those activists say they're losing hope in the search for justice for Jamal. The Sutherland family says they were told they wouldn't understand the footage of Jamal's death. The Charleston County Sheriff's Office has told News 2 they couldn't release the video until the Sutherland family agreed to do so. Activists say law enforcement...
Hold on. Let me hear this again.
The Sutherland family says they were told they wouldn't understand the footage of Jamal's death. The Charleston County Sheriff's Office has told News 2 they couldn't release the video until the Sutherland family agreed to do so. Activists say law enforcement, Ninth Circuit...
Which we know was a lie, which we, you know, I found that other clip. I don't know if you remember it. We found that other clip from another, I think it was a news... I forgot what type of lawyer this guy was, but he talked about how you can release critical information to the public and it won't necessarily hinder an investigation. It's really weird how they both infantilize and purport to support the Sutherland family at the same time. It's really interesting, and how they also use that NDA to really make it put all of the onus on the family. Oh, you didn't know about this because the family's wishes. And like it to me, it doesn't make sense. I don't know if it was the family's wishes or not. It's still unclear to me. It's still unclear, and I don't want to be disrespectful of the Sutherland family in no way, shape, or form, but it's still clear to me that the family didn't want... Because the initial reporting was like the family wanted answers. The family was demanding answers to the press, at least. That's what the family was saying directly to the press. When Mark Pepper became a spokesperson, the Pepper Law Firm took over, the tone changed, and then it changed again. So it's still unclear. And I understand these are very emotional and very complicated cases, but it's really unsettling. It's just very unsettling how the family is being used as like this human shield against against accountability for the police and for the solicitor. B-Man, you say they're using the Sutherlands to create cover. Yes, no, it's not reckless speculation. It's actually, and that's the whole thing, right? I don't know what the advisement was to say, hey, sign this NDA. I've never seen that. I've never seen a sheriff's office sign an NDA in concert with other elected officials saying that you can't say things to the police. And then like no one ever justified the use of that NDA. No one. And only thing they kept saying is, well, this is always done. BS. Whether it's always done or not, the fact that you can, like I said about the Graziano mishandling, because Graziano got tons of smoke for Graziano too. Don't let the op-ed fool you. But like the criticism I have of Graziano, the biggest criticism I have, I guess the most substantial criticism, is that you could have claimed the narrative. You could have said things that didn't reveal details that were pertinent to the investigation. You could have come out in front of this issue. And the rookie mistake was that you thought that the good old boy system that you ousted was actually going to sit there and support you, and they did not. They threw her under the bus so quick and so fast. And so I still to this day don't understand how the NDA and the families complying with the NDA, I don't know how that actually, like how regular does that occur? I don't know. Nicole, you say, especially now that we've seen the video, when it was so clear that he was murdered. Absolutely. And yeah, I guess it is reckless speculation technically, but that's what it appears to be. They keep citing the family as a reason why things haven't been said and videos weren't seen sooner, which doesn't make any sense.
Solicitor Scarlett Wilson, the coroner's office, and state investigators have a responsibility to be transparent in the investigation.
Oh my God, that word.
Say anything short of charges and a conviction is a failure of their office.
If we can't get answers from her, we want her to resign immediately. The trust has been shaken in the black community by this solicitor, by the county police department, and also by SLED, and also by the coroner. We have no faith in these anymore.
The coroner.
Until this be resolved, we will never have any faith in these full agencies.
Now, Charleston County Sheriff Kristen Graziano has told News 2 in the past that she couldn't release that video due to a confidentiality agreement they had with the Jamal Sutherland estate.
See?
Now, we also have reached out to Ninth Circuit Solicitor Scarlett Wilson's office for comments regarding
Like, I really wish, like, this is the unfortunate thing is that we do have to prepare families. We do have to prepare families of color for, not all, but some. We have to inform our community at large about, we have to have a talk. You know how they say black people have the talk with their kids when their kids go out? You know, if a police pulls you over, a policeman pulls you over, a police person pulls you over, what to do, how to comply, how to come home alive, right? We almost have to have the same type of talk with the black community about, hey, if the police takes the life of one of our own, man, girl, boy, woman, old, young, if the police takes the life of one of our own, we have to talk about a strategy. The strategy, yes, find a lawyer, but we have to find trusted legal representation that has not worked so closely with law enforcement, and we have to have like a some sort of resource to help walk these families through what the steps should look like. And you know, the bad part of it is that you have to bring in national names sometimes to get that type of support and that type of guidance, right? And that comes with a whole bunch of other stuff, right? A lot of opportunists and people chasing a buck, right? And people who fundraise and make money off of these tragedies. But the other part, the other part of it is that they provide that support and that guidance that these smaller law firms just don't do. Not all of them are incompetent, but like the last law firm I had representing me against a case of this magnitude is led by a white lawyer who has had his run-ins with the police with his narcotics use. And I'm not shading anybody who has the substance abuse issue, but you know, you had your own run-in, evaded the law there, and then not only that, you've been campaigning for the very people that the family is calling for their firing. Like, so like, I just feel like there needs to be a talk among black people about what your next step should be if you do have the unfortunate and you're caught in an unfortunate circumstance where someone in your family, someone you love, has been killed by the police. We have to have that talk, and signing NDAs got to be the top of the discussion. You cannot sign on NDA because now we're seeing, and I hope people learn this, we're seeing how they use and weaponize that NDA. They say it's for your protection, and it's actually to tie your hands and to limit your limit your options in general. It's really tough. Yeah, it's at a time of great tragedy and trauma. It's so hard to navigate. D, you're not lying. Let me go back up a little bit. D, you said earlier, if they wouldn't keep covering shit up, we wouldn't have to speculate. That's true up to our earlier point. Nicole, you responded with agreeing with D. We have to be our own private investigators because they won't tell us the truth. It's the truth. It's very sad. So I'm gonna, let me see.
Activist calls for her resignation, but we have yet to hear back. For now, reporting live in downtown Charleston, Riley Benson, Count on 2.
Yeah. It's sad. How much we have to do on our own to bring about justice. Let's get to some. Yeah, so this is interesting. I found an old clip too to help me give some context about this whole Americans for Prosperity thing. And then I found real quick, it's a Koch brothers back project, right? So just to give you a little sample. So this is the
for being with us earlier.
This ties into the Nancy Mee story, right? So let me just rewind it a little bit. You don't need to hear the first minute. It wasn't that fascinating. We'll start it right here.
Go big or go home. Tim Phillips
from
is a
October,
senior
y'all.
advisor for Americans for Prosperity Action, the political advocacy group backed by the influential donor Charles Koch. Tim,
so Koch brothers back. Y'all know what time it is with that. Talk about dark money, dark as hell.
welcome. Thanks very much for being with us.
So this story says, you see at the top here, why the Koch Koch-backed Americans for Prosperity opposes more coronavirus aid. So this is at a time, remember when Trump was saying, go big or go home? Like, you just saw the tweet, right? And everyone else was like, oh no, spending and growth and, you know, all that other stuff. So this is the Americans for Prosperity. This is their stance on denying millions of Americans much needed aid.
Earlier this month, you were
from October
in the Washington Post saying, we are very concerned about any possible deal at this point. We are encouraging Congress, do not do another spending deal. Now, the Fed chair says that too little support would lead to a weak recovery, creating unnecessary hardship for households and businesses.
Imagine paying people while they have to stay home. Imagine supplementing folks' lost income or supplementing income, meager income. Imagine that being bad for recovery. Spoken like a true billionaire's sycophant, right? So he's out here doing that. So this is for context, y'all. I'm just going in like the magic history school bus, right? I don't know what I am. Not Miss Frizzle. I'm Miss Sizzle. All right, this the Magic History School Bus, Miss Sizzle. So we went back to October 2020, and now just so you get a little, and some of y'all already knew, like I don't know all these damn packs, and I don't know all of them. It takes a while for me. I'm like, oh, that's the DeVos family. That's right, and it's like it's like with Mayor Riley and Horizon Foundation, which is now West Edge. And now West Edge is like, you don't know, like they set up foundations and they just sound so like, oh, that's positive. Americans for Prosperity. Who doesn't want prosperity? Sounds so like harmless. I'm like, oh my God, that sounds great. And you know, Nancy Mace, she's such a common sense conservative that's a moderate. Oh, she just joined this group? Oh, it's probably nothing, right? No, it's not. It's not nothing. So here we go. Let's see where this bobblehead is at. Please let me have the video right here. Yes, I call her name.
U.S. Representative Nancy Mace was in Mount Pleasant tonight talking about infrastructure reform alongside.
So this is titled, this is a recent clip. This is from last night's news broadcast. Shout out Carolyn Murray. Representative, title of the video at the top, Representative Nancy Mace joins Americans for Prosperity in opposition to the Biden administration's infrastructure bill. So she was in Mount Pleasant talking her talkity talk. Did she find out? Did anybody solve the Scooby-Doo mystery yet? Did anyone solve the Scooby? I'm sure it's going to end up like a Scooby-Doo mystery where you take the mask off the villain and it's really just Nancy Mace. Did we get any meddling kids on the case yet? That's what she need to be talking. If I was at her appearance in Mount Pleasant, I just drill her with questions about that fucking vandalism. Excuse me for cursing in the morning. Sorry, kids. I would just drill her with questions about that vandalism, right?
Inside the group Americans for Prosperity, this as a bill backed by the Biden administration is getting a lot of discussion in Washington.
A lot of people talking about it. News 2's Kate Prestack joins us now live at the Charleston Harbor Fish House. That's where the Congresswoman spoke tonight. And Kate,
say it again.
You had a chance to speak to Representative Mace on why she says this is such an important issue.
Shout out Caitlin.
That's right, Representative Mace telling me that with only 5% of this plan going towards repairing old bridges and roads, she says she simply wants more for South Carolina.
Tell your governor.
Any infrastructure plan that I support, I want it to be bipartisan. I think it's really important, but also that it actually has something to do with infrastructure.
Representative Nancy Mace addressing the Low Country after
y'all see one of y'all neighbors or friends in the audience
voting against the Biden administration's $4 trillion infrastructure plan that she says included very little improvements to transportation infrastructure.
She lying.
Some have tried to redefine infrastructure as human infrastructure, like school lunches and art and sculptures and those kinds of things. And that's not what most people think of when they think of roads and bridges. They want their potholes.
Speaking of art, who was responsible for that artistic, vandalism? That's what I would have said as soon as you said art.
They want their roads widened, they want their airports upgraded, all those things are important.
As it stands, the current proposal could also impact South Carolina in removing it from being a right-to-work state. That plan heading to the Senate.
Oh, did you hear that?
moving it from being a right-to-work state. That plan heading to the Senate, where Representative Mace believes more will be done.
The bill that passed out of the House, all of that wasteful spending, it's not going anywhere. The real bipartisan work right now is being done in the Senate.
While Mace says there's hope in the Senate, she worries
what Chief Luther Reynolds is to the word transparency, Nancy Mace is to the word bipartisan. Like, shut up. Shut up. Y'all don't even mean it. I don't even believe it when you say it. Right? What Nicole say? Her kids are off the ball this morning. School lunches. Right? Nicole is on one this morning. Nicole in Twitch chat. Oh my gosh. Like, as a mom though, as a mom, like, this is what kills me about Nancy Mace. She's so not disciplined. Like, she's the rising star. She's the next, next big thing, the next new hot flavor, whatever, right? She's the new she's the new McDonald's sandwich they rolling out, right? McFib. And so, like, but with her, like, you're not disciplined. Like, if you want to anoint this chick the next new flavor, just get her some solid, like, go-to empty calorie, but makes you kind of throw you off talking points. You're not, like, you're a mom and you're making an argument against art and school lunches. And you live on Daniel Island, so that's already messing it up for me. Be like, okay, you're talking about poor kids. Because your kids are going to be straight, right? Right? Your kids are going to be straight. Y'all are going too fast in the chat. Oh my God, wait. What are the Mace children's thoughts on infrastructure? We need to know, Nancy, now. What did they say this morning when they watched Morning Joe? What did they say? Because I know this is a family that watches Morning Joe together. I know it is. That fake bipartisan show, that propaganda craziness. That's right up her alley. That's where she's probably going to end up after her career. She's going to end up on a show like a Morning Joe. We need to know what her kids think. Only because she thrusts her kids up in our faces. We're not attacking them. They just seem to be very precocious and politically savvy, and we want to know. We want to know. Since they tell her when to run for office, they tell her, Mommy, I'm scared. Mommy, I'm not safe. Mommy, my favorite store closed down. Like, her kids be all up in there. We just need to know. All right, in the Twitch chat, Mommy, make sure you write about pro-law on the house. Stop. Nicole. Johnny James, you said, but Nancy, I thought y'all savior wanted infrastructure. I did too, right? Didn't Mr. Mack Trump, didn't he want infrastructure? Okay. Oh my God. This chat is crazy. This is crazy. Jessica, stop encouraging. And so, I'm sorry, if y'all not watching on Twitch, it's a different vibe on Twitch. It can be. So y'all need to stop.
if a bipartisan agreement cannot be met, the package will be passed on party lines through reconciliation.
My fear is that Nancy Pelosi will do the same thing if she does an infrastructure package through budget reconciliation or any additional.
Oh, she's pulling the page out of Joe Cunningham's playbook. Vilify Nancy Pelosi. Got it. That's a good go-to move.
Additional spending. She won't give us a say. And I'm really confused by this because I live in a swing district. I represent Republicans and Democrats alike. The U.S. Senate is evenly divided 50-50, and the House has a very slim majority. This is not the time to go and be at odds over everything in such a far direction. Really, it's the time to work together, and my message.
Please, and see, this is the thing that I think people who are less like apt to really listen and do the Googles, right? Like I did my Googles. I didn't know what Americans for Prosperity was. I didn't, right? I know I read a lot of books and everything, y'all. I don't know everything. For some of y'all saying you didn't know. But like, just do your Googles. Like, who's this group? And why is she saying this now? And see how she's delivering it? Hey, we're not going to oppose it. Like, we're going to go far. Basically what she's saying is, I'm not Marjorie Taylor Greene, but I'm not Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? Like, that's what she's trying. That's the balance she's trying to strike, is that I'm not cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, not trying to be ableist, but she's trying to say that, look, I haven't gone that far, right? But I'm a more palatable, Trump sycophant, because we can't remember how staunch of a supporter she was for Trump. We can't forget that. You can talk about bipartisan, moderate bull crap all you want. we remember who you used to work for with Glee, and whose white supremacist talking points you used to, support with Glee. It's Trump. Hey, Kia, you back? Kia, you not grown. You not grown up there on the ledges of cliffs, looking like Mary J. Blige in a Be Happy video. Kia, you are not grown. Welcome back. B-Man, you said, for real though, these poor kids. Yeah, he says, I've been working since I was 18 to undo all the crazy stuff that your parents out your parents. Yes, and B-Man, I remember our conversation very vividly, and it's real, right? And I commend you on that self-discovery, that getting out of your immediate gravity, getting out of your immediate like area of where you were raised, and really like, I'm not trying to put all your business out there, but just like expanding your thoughts and thinking critically about everything. Yeah, you have to think critically. Yeah, you are grown. You is grown, kid.
To Democrats and Republicans, I'm literally willing to work with anyone who's willing to work with me.
And that's the sad part. She's gonna get a lot of like thirsty ass Dems that want to look bipartisan. She's gonna get a lot of thirsty Dems, really supporting her BS for real. Let me see real quick. So this is something interesting. So yeah, as we know, and I haven't talked about it on Twitch a lot because I'm exhausted, but we know that voting rights are under attack. They're always under attack. They've always been under attack. They were under attack when I was heading up Women's March for the state and having rallies about it, right? Ballot access, electoral justice, voting rights, Septima Clark. Y'all know me. If you know my work, you know what I've talked about for years. So I haven't engaged with it a lot lately because it really does make my heart hurt to know that like my parents were born into a time where they didn't have, like, if they were adults at the time they were born, they could not participate in their democracy, and they lived long enough to see, their parents or grandparents become fully enfranchised citizens, so to speak, or get granted the right to vote. My parents both witnessed the desegregation of schools and bathrooms and public spaces, and the fact that we're still fighting a fight that they fought, right? Is really gnarly to me, because it just really feels so daunting. But check this out, Lindsey Graham, area, because I ain't gonna lie, I am not gonna lie, he on Fox. The channel's problematic as hell. I don't watch it live anymore, but I watch me some Chris Wallace, because at least he's gonna be a journalist. At the very least, he has the most journalistic integrity. You could argue he's better than some of y'all liberal faves on y'all favorite channels. Let's just say that. White liberal faves. Shout out Tiffany Cross, because I think she's phenomenal. But Chris Wallace will challenge some bullshit when he hears it, right? So this is a clip of Lindsey Graham. It says Chris Wallace slams Lindsey Graham for lying about Joe Manchin's voting bill, bipartisan infrastructure proposal. Again, they're attacking that as well. Has a support of 21 senators, yada yada yada. But let's play this clip. Let's see if he gets slammed.
Infrastructure. It's just a power grab by the Democratic Party in every area of
They're
our
in
lives.
power.
So let me move on to another area, because Senator Schumer, the Senate Democratic leader, is going to bring up a voting rights bill this week. And the centrist, moderate, always maybe the most powerful man in the Senate, Joe Manchin, is going to offer his stripped-down version of that bill this week. And I want to put up the
Lindsey needs some crest strips.
Main elements of the Manchin proposal. Make Election Day a holiday.
Yeah,
Mandate at least 15 days of early voting. Ban partisan gerrymandering and use computer models. And require a voter ID. Now, Senator Manchin took out a lot of the basic Senate plans. S1, For the People Act.
So watered down and whack.
Public financing of congressional elections. Can you go along with the Manchin stripped-down version, and if not, why not?
Well, one, I like Joe Manchin a lot, but we had the largest turnout in the history of the United States, and states are in charge of voting in America. So I don't like the idea of taking the power to redistrict away from state legislators.
No, y'all can't be trusted.
People move from blue states to red states. Under this proposal, you'd have some kind of commission redraw the new district.
See, that's what they're afraid of. This is why, like, seriously, y'all, I know we talked about the whole meme pages and how, like, some of them just like fun, tongue-in-cheek, and some of them are like doing the work of like this whole nativism thing, this whole like purity. Oh, we've got these outsiders coming in, changing our laws and whatnot. This is what they're really afraid of. Look, this country's getting browner and browner and browner. There ain't nothing they can do to stop it. There's some things they can do to try to postpone it, but there's nothing they can do to stop it. And being brown doesn't mean that you're going to vote liberal, left-leaning, or anything like that. So I'm not making that assumption. But the country is changing, and I would argue traditional conservative values are being challenged in ways that they've never seen, in ways that I haven't seen in my lifetime. Traditional conservative values are being challenged, and this is what they're afraid of, are the changing demographics. This is why the southern states, these red states with smaller populations, wield so much power. This is also why the filibuster is so problematic, because that's exactly what it's designed to do, is to keep these red states that have far fewer revenue, far less revenue, far fewer people, have these states have so much power, because these are the states that were held down by the you-know-who's in our history, right? So, yeah, it's a problem. But when he said that about people moving and flocking, I'm going to rewind it just a little bit more and just play it again.
Joe Manchin a lot, but we had the largest turnout in the history of the United States, and states are in charge of voting in America. So I don't like the idea of taking the power to redistrict away from state legislators. You're having people move from blue states to red states. Under this proposal, you'd have some kind of commission redraw the new districts, and I don't like that. I want states where people are moving to have control over how to allocate new congressional seats.
And remember now, McMaster came out, what was that, a couple of weeks ago, trying to take over all of elections and make that a statewide accountability. Remember, we had Isaac from the Charleston County the Board of Elections, Isaac Kramer, talk about how that would really hurt the process here. Not only that, Isaac spoke to the hard work and the reliability of the work being done by each county's Board of Elections, right? So we know that McMaster is championing legislation that would put more voting laws and lawmaking and regulation, put that in the hands of those in Columbia, as opposed to having county, individual county leadership. That's been working very well. As someone who's worked many elections, it's stressful, grueling work, and it's work that is very, to me, I've seen some of the smartest, most meticulous people lead, except for Isaac Kramer, lead the Board of Elections. I'm sure Isaac does a good job. I just don't like him personally. But yeah. So we know that when Lindsey Graham is talking about we want states to make these decisions, he literally means the governors of red states. Like, he literally means that. He wants these racist ass governors to basically bring back Jim Crow, Jane Crow, and restrict ballot access to those who have the harder time getting to the polls.
So as much as I like Joe Manchin, the answer would be no. In my view, SR1 is the biggest power grab in the history of the country. It mandates ballot harvesting.
Bingo, Justin.
No voter ID. It does away with the states being able to redistrict when you have population shifts. It's just a bad idea, and it's a problem that most Republicans are not going to sign up. They're trying to fix a problem most Republicans have a different view of.
Now, Joe Manchin would say, look, a lot of the stuff that you just objected to is not in my bill.
Yep.
His is a stripped-down
It's
version.
the pushback.
And he doesn't talk about an independent commission. He just says ban partisan gerrymandering. And as you know, the Constitution
So Lindsey
does
just lied
provide
about it,
for
right?
federal oversight
Look at him.
of state elections. Here's the practical question here. If you if Republicans vote, as it appears you're going to kill the Manchin version of voting rights, you've already, Republicans voted to kill the bipartisan January 6th commission looking into the insurrection at the Capitol. Do you run the risk that Manchin and a couple of other moderate senators will eventually say, look, bipartisanship isn't working, and you know what? We're not going to kill the filibuster, but we're going to reduce the number of votes you need to stop a debate from 60 to 55. Do you run that risk?
I hope not, because I was in Joe Manchin's shoes. I like Joe Manchin. I'm willing to work with him on infrastructure. We're very close on police reform. You haven't talked about police reform, but I think we can get there. I think Tim Scott and Cory Booker and the rest of us are very close to a police reform package that will be bipartisan. But when we had the House and the Senate and the White House under President Trump, I had a bunch of Democrats wanting to sign a letter with me protecting the filibuster. Every one of those Democrats have fled for the hills. So I was beat on every day. Why don't you give in and agree with President Trump to change the rules so we can get the Trump agenda through? I said, no, I don't think it'd be good for the country. Never once did I go to Joe Manchin or any other Democrat and say, if you don't do some of the things I want, I'm going to agree with Trump to change the rules. I'm not going to be extorted here. I'm asking no more of my Democratic colleagues than I ask of myself. It was very unpleasant to be beat on every day by the President of the United States, President Trump, and his allies to try to change the rules in the Senate to have their way. I said no because it's bad for the Senate. I hope these Democrats understand it's bad for the Senate to change the rules, and I don't want to be extorted. I've got to give 2 or 3 things before they will not change the rules. I don't like that at all. I didn't do that to them, and I wish they would not do this to me.
All right, I got 2 questions.
Structure. It's just.
I love how they said that he slammed him. I guess that pushback was a slam. Got me all ready for some sort of like Royal Rumble. It wasn't no slam. But shout out to Chris Wallace. He did push back and say, yo, chill. You talking about stuff that ain't even in that bill. Chill out. Real quick, let me read the chat over here on Twitch. Y'all is chatting it. I appreciate it. The more you talk, the better it is for this channel. So thank you for talking. Yeah, Evelyn, earlier you says, oh no, we won't be able to have our minority rule if other people draw the districts, right? Exactly. Kia, you said you don't understand why they consistently pit red and blue states against each other. Right. It is crazy. Yeah. It's really, I don't understand. I do understand it, but I'm over it. Justin, you says, buddy, if the landscape in your state changes, it changes. It's not your right to redistrict. Yep. So that simple people can stay in charge. Jessica, you said companies move here for tax breaks, figure out the workforce isn't always as skilled as needed, right? They pay to move their existing employees down here. Absolutely. There are dozens of work relocations we know personally. Absolutely. Like again, my time driving Uber, like, you know, countless people who moved here from other places where whatever industry that just moved here, you know, where that industry has been in place for generations, right? So you had this workforce that was almost generational, right? And that workforce is just not here, not because the folks here aren't smart enough. It's just that skill set hasn't been fostered. And so to Jessica's points, you know, dozens of relocations, they woo the business, and then they like they woo these businesses from other regions, and then they like get mad when like, oh yeah, that comes with some maybe some blue people, some blue, some red, some whatever, some purple, right? You went on to say, Jessica, before I kept rambling, they aren't creating jobs here. They're just increasing profitability and avoiding unionization. Absolutely. They're not. You know what? No one makes that point. No one really makes that point clearly enough that they're not creating jobs because they're filling it with people from wherever they came from. They're not creating jobs. And I think that's the thing. And if they do create jobs, it's like janitorial jobs and shit like that. Like same thing with West Edge talking about we're creating jobs and we're managing the flooding over and back to Green. How the hell you managing the flooding? How you a whole development organization and you're managing flooding and you bring a Jimmy John's and a Domino's, and that's supposed to be like, we have to really start listening closely to what they say they're doing when they come here as well and start questioning it, because they're not creating jobs. Yeah, some people do work there. Of course, we know locals who work at Boeing, but we know the other side of it too, not just Boeing, but a lot of the other manufacturers. Let me skip down. D, you said, I said it earlier, they can't be trusted, period. Creating options that are not able to be manipulated is progress. Absolutely. Lying smile. Yes, Justin. Lindsey Graham loves his lying gray smile. All right. That's all he said. I like Joe Manchin. Right? He kept saying, I like Joe Manchin. Yep. What? All right. What? Now he's saying he tried to change the filibuster. Right? He's trying to take credit for that too. What the hell is he talking about? When? Nicole, your blood pressure. I'm sorry for making your blood pressure go up. I'm just trying to catch up to the chat. Oh man. I'm gonna have to call him back. I'm almost done. Classic turning people on themselves. Absolutely, Justin. Yeah. Anyway, are they creating smoke and mirrors? Absolutely. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to talk about. Oh, definitely want to talk about this.
Beliefs. The legislation is in response to the city of Columbia recently banning conversion. At the State House, a new bill may give mental health professionals the right to refuse treatment of a patient if it goes against their beliefs. The legislation is in response to the city of Columbia recently banning conversion therapy for LGBTQ minors. Today, senators heard public feedback. News 19's Julia Kaufman was there.
I see you.
Right of conscience. It's what medical professionals can use to refuse treatment if it goes against their religious or moral beliefs. A new Senate bill aims to expand those rights to mental health professionals, but some worry that'll harm vulnerable populations.
We need to strengthen our right of conscience protections in South Carolina, certainly to include mental health providers as well as other medical practitioners. That was already sort of in the works, but when Columbia took the actions that it took, it sort of sped up my time.
Justin, you think that's some paint up top? Look a little inky. You think that's some paint? That look like some paint up top. What y'all think?
Timeline a little bit.
Senator Josh Kimbrell introduced Senate Bill 811 last month. It authorizes medical practitioners, healthcare institutions, and healthcare payers to not participate in healthcare services that violate the practitioner's or entity's conscience. Kimbrell says the bill is a defensive move against Columbia's new ordinance that bans licensed therapists from performing conversion therapy on minors.
I think that's a violation of freedom of conscience and expression. We shouldn't have people who are going to be targeted because of what they believe in their faith.
Phil Ford with South Carolina United for Justice and Equality shared his concerns about the bill with lawmakers Monday.
This bill is too broad and can harm people.
Ford worries the bill, if passed, will allow medical professionals to discriminate against the LGBTQ community.
This bill only creates more division in our communities and will do nothing to serve our patients.
Vicki Ringer with Planned Parenthood also thinks it's dangerous.
Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in blood transfusion. Imagine your daughter is in a car crash and is bleeding profusely, and her doctor is a Jehovah's Witness. This bill allows him to walk away.
But Kimbrell argues that's not true.
The existing law in South Carolina...
Wait, ain't there some Hippocratic situations that you can't do that? Like, regardless... Wait, I don't know about that one, Vicki.
...says explicitly you can't be denied emergency care. This bill doesn't change that.
If S811 becomes law, Kimbrell says it'll invalidate Columbia's ban on conversion therapy. The subcommittee is going to schedule another hearing...
Yeah.
for public testimony this summer before taking a vote. At the State House, Julia Kaufman, News 19, WLTX.
Also in the Senate subcommittee meeting today, a bill was advanced that could require minors to have parental consent before getting the COVID-19 vaccine. The bill's sponsor, Senator Brian Adams, says he introduced this to prevent schools from giving COVID-19 vaccines to students.
I really doubt that you couldn't even go on a field trip without parental consent. Is that even necessary to mandate that? That's just, to me, more hysteria, like that's stoked by like those groups that boycotted mask mandates and whatnot. Oh my gosh. All right, real quick, let me see. One more story, I'm out. I think. Yeah, it's some good news. How about we dismount with some good news?
2, USC Gamecocks will be a part of the U.S. Olympic basketball team. Gamecocks coach Don Staley will lead the Olympic team, and alum Asia Wilson will also play on the team. Wilson will be the second Gamecock to ever play on a U.S. Olympic women's basketball team.
Talk about history making. Come on, girl.
Shannon Johnson made the team in 1996.
That's what's up. Okay, real quick. Okay, there's one other thing. And I'm not throwing shade because y'all know I'm trying to support. I'm unashamed and unabashed in my support. Excuse me, for Mia McLeod's candidacy, her run for governor. I think it's important. But the other day, yesterday, as I was queuing up videos, I came across something and it kind of made me scratch my head a little bit, just a little bit. So I wanted to find it and see if I can find it again. Let me see what this is. Is this it? This might be it. I am not trying to throw shade. I swear I'm not. Let me see. I think this is it. It might not be it, but no, this is Mother Emanuel. Hold on. Oh, I'm out of focus. Oh, where is it? It was like, it really threw me off because Mia McLeod was down here. And I'm like, oh, she was in Charleston? That's interesting. And then I'm really trying to find it. It was something about shooting. I know, bear with me, y'all. I should have just found it before I came on. I was like, what the hell? Let me just look at my history. Don't judge my history if y'all see it. Let me see. Nah, it ain't bad history. It was yesterday. I was gonna play it yesterday. I was like, nah. I think this might be it. Nope. I queued it up too. Let me just play it. Okay, I know. Let me just play it real quick and see if this is it.
9 people were shot in 6 years ago today.
No, this ain't it. But anyway, Mia McLeod was down here.
For change.
It might have been another channel. But Mia McLeod, no stay. Mia McLeod was down here, and it was just it was just, let me look it up because it really made me. It really made me take, like, I'm not criticizing. I'm not. But I'm going to ask a question. Let me see. Oh, here it was. Yeah, here it was. And I think there was video of it. No, it might not. Maybe I read it in the paper. So yeah, I came across this yesterday, and I'm like, yeah, Charleston County Sheriff's Chief Deputy Joyce Smith. I had the privilege of hearing Joyce talk during a behind the scenes talk with Graziano, and then this group. I'm not familiar with Motivate, but they were able to have Mia McLeod come down and join Margie Bright. Y'all know Margie Bright, another elected official here holding it down. I lived in Wamala, so I was in her district, Carlson County as well. But I just thought this was interesting. So Mia McLeod is here. I think there is video. Maybe it's not. Maybe I thought it was. Mia McLeod is here at this rally about gun violence that was supposed to be a march. And shout out to Margie Bright. Shout out to Mia. But if you will come down to Low Country, her Low Country team need to get on it because I'm not saying this shouldn't have happened. But Mel Chapman, come on. Let's come on. Let's get her next to some sisters. It was Juneteenth weekend. There are plenty of black things that maybe she did do them, but whoever's working on Mia McLeod's Charleston team, her advanced team, find some folks to connect with so when to bring her down for a photo op that's worth it. I think if someone running for governor, someone this high profile is running for governor, a sitting state senator is running for governor, I think that the events that she takes part in a little bit more substantial. Again, not coming at motivate to educate, but I just thought that was like, huh? Especially when you got Meryl Chapman in the mix, so you already know what's going on there. Meryl Chapman, take my stuff out of the whole Meryl Chapman issue. Meryl Chapman, just her formula, which if you haven't noticed yet, is to be proximate to black people with power and influence, and to just use their power and influence to advance whatever her ambitions are as a fundraiser, whatever her ambitions are politically, whatever her ambitions are. She loves to leverage her proximity to blackness, and that's another thing that I'll be very critical of. So I'm just saying, you got this historic candidate running for governor, have her at an event that's actually worth her time and worth the photo op, because being right there proximate to being this paternalistic figure amongst all these black folk who probably need resources and support that she definitely offered, because she's offered me support in the past, because that's what she does. She gets you in with the lure of promises of money and connections and all that other stuff, and then she's just as racist as your most racist lawmaker. Very, very, very. It's amazing too that she's standing next to two powerful, influential black women lawmakers, because she really has a problem with black women's leadership. So that's really interesting too. So yeah. Anyway, that's just asking questions. Like, we couldn't get sis to go to something Juneteenth related. We couldn't get this was important, but I think there's a way to even have this so that it just looks a little bit even. Like, I would have staged this better. If I was in her advance team, I would have staged this. So then just like a gaggle of 6 people, I would have staged it better. If you have a modest crowd, how do you make it look less modest and make it maybe look like more of an intimate talk? I would have did that differently. But, I'm just a cash poor girl living in an apartment near Ponderosa. All right, that's it. That's all I got for you. I wanted to get off at 8:30. I got a busy day today. I don't know how I'm going to get through it. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate you for tuning in. Appreciate y'all for your support in the chat. Is so important. I'm gonna go back over the chat and read it because it was popping today. Thank you if you're watching on YouTube. I appreciate the 2 or 3 viewers on YouTube. Thank you for the 10 viewers, 50 viewers, or maybe 30 viewers on Facebook. I appreciate you too. Let's keep building this out. Shout out to my homie Jared, my DJ Moldy Brain. We are moving forward with things regarding this channel. Next on the list is to just get the stream to go directly to Instagram. I gotta stop talking about it. Gotta start doing it. All right. Take care, y'all. I appreciate you. Bye.